Namaskara. Good morning, all. First, let me salute all of you, the Insurance Employees Association, the Employees Union, and its comrades, for a commendable job in leading this struggle to resist this wholesale of the public assets. You've been in the forefront of the struggle for long. It's a continuing struggle against the sale of our assets, the national assets, the public properties, PSU banks and companies, and especially the insurance company, the insurance sector. We've been leading a big struggle and certainly a much more aggressive and intensive struggles ahead, and I'm sure you all keep. And this is probably part of that. As we all know, India is on sale. They're doing a garage sale. Everything, anything and everything they can put their hands on, they're putting a sticker on sale. Now it reminds me, when you see these sale mela, it reminds me of the famous biblical story of the prodigal son, who squandered the wealth of his father. You all know the story of the Bible, the prodigal son. But he at least squandered only his father's wealth. Here, our modern era prodigal son is selling the public properties. It's not his father's property. In the new era, here is a prodigal tenant. He's not the owner. He's on the selling spree, selling anything that he can put his hands on. Imagine, you rent your house to a tenant. You build a house with all your life savings. You put all the modern amenities in there, your blood and sweat. And the moment the tenant moves in, he puts on sale sticker everywhere, your fridge, your refrigerator, your TV, your washing machine, whatnot. And one fine morning, he calls you. Hey, you want to buy this house? And you are like, Arey, wo mera hi ghar hai. It's mine. He goes, yeah, that's why I called you first. You should not blame later that I didn't give you a chance first to buy this house. That's the tenant. Does it sound like our finance minister? He's saying, hey, the public will be given the first chance to buy the IPO of the LIC. Arey Baba, wo hamara hi hai. It's our property. You are saying that, hey, you can buy the shares of LIC. You will be given the chance to buy the IPO. Of what? Of my own house. The finance minister is renting, the finance minister who we have put on rent, the tenant. They're not the permanent rulers. And the tenant is selling the house to the owner. Isn't it? In the budget, the finance minister announced, right? So she wants to mobilize 1.7 lakhs crore this year. How? So this time they want to sell the pillars of the house itself, the pillars that hold the house in time. LIC of India. That's the pillar that holds the Indian economy. The pillar of the house. Once you take it up, the house is collapsed. So she wants to sell the LIC of India, the pillar of the Indian economy. She wants to mobilize 1.75 lakhs crore this year. How? By selling the PSU banks and insurance, 1 lakh crore, and the other 75 lakhs crore by selling the PSU companies. So that's the whole idea in the IPO, LIC IPO. They want to mobilize that 1.75 lakhs crore by selling. See, it has nothing to do with LIC. It's everything to do with the government. It's not that LIC needs money, LIC needs resources or LIC needs more transparency or anything. None of that. The government needs money to cover its economy crisis. So what is the best thing? They have built a thing. Know that the people who have not built a single stone, except a few statues here and there, want to sell anything and everything they can lay hands on, which was laboriously built by the people of this nation in the last 70 years. So they are trying to sell someone else's sweat. Someone else sweat, sell it. That's the whole idea. Now look at that. What they do, what the minister saying? Where is this wealth going? Who is benefiting? So the minister says the public will be given the opportunity to buy IPOs of LIC preferential. Madam, which public? You know, in India, out of 136 crore people, only 1% of that 1% household invest in the stock market. Just 1% of the household invest in the stock market. Which public you are talking about? Currently, there are 4 crores demat account. You all know what demat account is. The stock market account. 4 crore demat account out of 136 crore people. Out of that, just 1 crore is active. 1 crore demat account. What that means, just 1 crore people are investing in the stock market. So there are 4 crore demat. So just 1% household invest in the stock market. So you are saying, hey, the public can buy IPO. Which public? This 1%? So what are you effectively doing? The property of the 136 crore people you are selling to 1% of the people of India. That's what you are doing. No one else has any access to stock market. Nobody else is buying any IPO. So you want to transfer the wealth that was built by 136 crore people, the Indian people, to 1% of those who can afford to invest in the stock market. The wealthy super rich. See, out of the whole demat accounts, just 3% is retailers, the common people. Who are the rest? They are the institutional investors, big corporates, and HNIs, high net worth individuals, super rich. That's what this 1% is about. So you are effectively selling this whole national wealth to this 1% of the people. Look at how skewed our wealth distribution is. Imagine if there are only 100 people in India, total population, and the total wealth of India is 100 rupees. Let's assume. So 100 people in India and 100 rupees total wealth. 55 rupees out of this 100 rupees with 1%. Out of these 100 people, 1% holds 55 rupees of that 100 rupees. That's the Oxfam study, 2018. If you take the top 9 more people, that's the top 10 people, they hold 80 rupees of that 100 rupees. Top 10 people got 80 rupees. So what is left for the next 90 people? 10 rupees. Out of that, if you take the bottom 60 people of 100 people population, if you take the bottom 60 people, guess how much they have? 4 rupees. The bottom 60% of India holds just 4% of the national wealth. That skewed is the wealth distribution in India. We all know that in the COVID pandemic last 2 years, we're all struggling. People were struggling even to meet the ends. But in India, the top 20 billionaires increased their wealth by 12%, while the bottom 70% reduced their already nominal wealth by 11%. How is that possible, right? When the people are struggling, there are a minority section who is building their wealth, increasing the wealth. And that's what this whole thing is about. And that's what the IPO is catering into. So if you look at the IPO, the stock market is a funny place. Actually, that is where all the wealthy who are dividing their loot. Stock market is the place where they share the loot, the wealthy. You all might have heard Zomato. That's a familiar name for you, right? You order food from Zomato. If people who follow stock market might have noticed, Zomato went IPO recently. Zomato went public. So what is Zomato? Does it produce or cook food? It doesn't. What it does, it delivers food. Who cooks the food? The restaurants, the hotels. So the Zomato, what it does, you order from a hotel, they collect the food and give it. So who is doing the work? The delivery boys. So the delivery boys is doing the Zomato. And the Zomato IPO worth 1 lakh crore, which means the company is worth 1 lakh crore. It went IPO. So what is this 1 lakh crore worth for? It is the service that delivery boys are doing. That's what the 1 lakh crore worth is. They are delivering the food. So you would assume 1 lakh crore is for those delivery boys are creating that wealth, right? So they're all millionaires now. Dream on. They're not even employees. You know, right? The delivery boys are just contract employees. They give 15 rupees for drop off, they give 15 rupees pickup point. Hardly earn 400, 500 rupees a day. They work for 14, 16 hours. Employees, they had 4,000 number of employees, and just before the IPO, they laid off 520 people in this pandemic. They said, I'm not much work. So who is getting this 1 lakh crore when Zomato went on IPO? Those who have never in their life delivered in a single packet of food. They're the ones getting that 1 lakh crore. The founders and the investors. That's the IPO story. Recently, it went another financial institutions, right? I not have time to explain all. Paytm, a loss-making company. They will not be profitable for the next 10 years. No cash positive for until at least 2030. Somebody said, I am worth of 2,150. That was the issue price IPO. 2,150. Loss-making company. Went on IPO. Who gets the money? The company is lost, but for founders, institutional investors, they are billionaires, they are laughing on their way. Using the money out of the public and transferring into this one person. That's what basically happened. That's the new way of how the cronies use money out of the public, the national assets, the public money, and how they become rich. Any wonder? This one person holds 55 rupees. This is how this polarization, this wealth concentration aggressively and increasingly happen. And the LIC story is not going to be any different. That's what the whole target is. LIC is the public asset, we all know. I don't need to tell you. Just picking that and giving to someone, your cronies, your friends, your families, the private corporate. That's this whole IPO story is about. So look at that. In November 2021, the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, Mr. Pandey, he said, like, hey, by January, March, this will be done. So you're expecting the LIC IPO to be in the first quarter FY 21. So in July itself, government has started all these appointing bankers, the legal advisors, and auditing the accounts of LIC and its subsidiaries, all that. We were preparing for the IPO. Now, according to the current knowledge, what we know, government is planning to offer 5 to 10% of its shares to the market in the first round of IPO, 5 to 10%. But second round will be coming soon. And before you open your eyes, it will be 100% sold. Mark my words. Right now, like what are they saying? They're saying like 5 to 10%. But you know that recently finance bill and the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they passed. I mean, a lot of protests from the opposition, right? There were 27 amendments to the LIC Act. So there they decided, right? They will 25,000 crore authorized capital, and they like basically segregated those shares into rupee 10 each, 2,500 crore shares. So as per that, as per the SEBI, now the amendment is to make sure that it's SEBI compliant so that you go and list in the stock market, publicly traded company. So now, as per the SEBI law, any new listing company which is worth more than 1 lakh crore has to offer its 10% of shares in the first 2 years and 25% of the shares within the 5 years. So one thing is sure, 25% is gone. LIC has to offer, the government has to offer at least 25% of the share to the public within next 5 years. But our government is much smarter. 25%? No way. We need much more than that, right? So the finance bill amendment is what? It says we will at least keep 75% within the next 5 years and then at least 51% after that. What that at least means is, hey, before it's 5 years, we'll make sure that we have only 51%. We'll sell 49%. But this is not going to happen. We have, earlier stories. Look at they recently passed the amendment bill for the general business insurance amendment bill, right? What is the main clause? They removed the clause which require them to keep 51% in the general insurance companies. That's crap. That's how now they are selling more. Similarly, they have added one clause which says that government can relinquish control at any time. That's in the bill amendment bill what they changed. So in the finance bill amendments, they are already saying, okay, after 5 years we will keep 51%, and we know that if you go by this general business insurance amendment bill, they are not going to keep that 51%. Soon it will be 100% gone. If anybody was following the Supreme Court verdict a couple of weeks back, this was about Hindustan Zinc Limited. Hindustan Zinc Limited was once upon a time a public sector company, a leading manufacturer of zinc and lead and a producer of silver. It's no more a PSC long back. Doesn't have a single share that government owns now. It's completely impaired. Hindustan Zinc Limited. So what was the Supreme Court verdict? Just like 2 weeks back in November. This government had with it 24% of shares, 29% of shares remain. So in 2016, Supreme Court stalled that. So they wanted Supreme Court note to sell that remaining 29%. So Supreme Court said, okay, you can sell. Supreme Court said, yes, the government can decide on the disinvestment and they can sell. So that's gone. This Hindustan Zinc story started in 91-92. First, they sold 24% of the sale, 24% of the stake. That time, what did they say? Similar to what they are saying now. And it is only 24%. So what's the big deal? I'm sure like, you must have heard from your colleagues and your friends and like, they're selling just 5 to 10% of LIC. So what's the big deal? Still government has. This was the same story. 91, 92. Hindustan Zinc. It's only 25%. Before you realize, next year they sold another 20%. Same story again. Say, hey, we still keep 51%. So what's the big deal? So it reduced, and today in November it's 0. But it took 30 years so that I'm sure LIC in case it won't take that, not even 5 years. So what the Supreme Court verdict is, one is that they said, yeah, you can go and sell the remaining. So they sold, period. Because in 2014, the Central Public Sector Enterprise filed a complaint in the Supreme Court. What did they say? They said there is a devaluation in the IPO price. They sold the 26% of the Hindustan Zinc to private offering IPO, right? So there is purposely you reduce the price to help the buyers. That was the case. There is a complaint. So Supreme Court and the government today, they asked that, hey, drop that case, close that case, and Supreme Court refused to drop that case. Supreme Court asked to continue the CBI inquiry into that. Look at that, how you're selling. They're saying that, hey, they reduced the IPO price. Now I was looking at what would be the price of LIC. What as I understand is going to be around 400 to 500 baht. Now you compare the other story of Paytm, a loss-making story which will not make profit till 2030 is the price is 2,150. So the complaint was sold at that cheap, and the Supreme Court says yes, it has a prima facie case. Continue the inquiry. These are the stories happening in the public sales happen, and I don't need to tell by names. So many are going. Just last month, the secretary said, out of 300 existing PSU companies, it will be reduced to 2 dozens. Just 2 dozens out of 300 PSU companies. They said we are identifying 4 strategic areas, and out of that there will be 3 or 4 companies in each of the sector, and that's it. The rest all will be disinvested, private, sold completely. Against RTI, they said 26 PSUs are listed this year to sell 100%. They asked Niti Aayog to come and give that list. It has all the familiar names. You name it, no, we have it. The secretary said there are 3 bidders for BPCL, Bharat Petroleum. Pretty much it has every name, BEML, Central Electronics, whatnot, pharmaceuticals and medicals. So it's pretty much like selling everything. So now we know that the bill, the General Insurance Business Amendment Bill, they are basically targeting to privatize the whole thing. As we know that the FDI limit has been increased now from 49 to 74% this year. It was earlier increased to 49% in 2015 after this government came to power. So it's essentially opening up, making the field free so that the private equities, private corporate and the foreigners can take out whatever asset is in there. It's a time of financial capitalism, right? Where you don't need to sell anything, physical goods. Money makes money. It's all financial transactions. Said that out of 70 trillion economy, 700 trillion transactions are 96% of the transactions are which does not involve any physical goods. Just the numbers. So that's the finance capitalism, right? So that's the where it's going to. It's basically increasing the cap. So why are you killing this golden goose LIC? Is it a loss-making company? It's not. Rather, it's 30 plus lakh crore asset, 38 lakh crore, the latest if you look at. So why are you killing that? Not only it says invest. We know that in 1956 came up as people's money. It should be for people's welfare. You mobilize the fund from the public, give back to the public. So that is the kind of where it was the LIC has been working. We know that the performance. Nowhere in the world you will see a claim settlement ratio of 97% plus. At best, 45%. It's about to get like almost 75,000 crore in a new business in the next decade or so. So this is, I mean, hardly anything, right? It's income in 1819. If you look at it, it's almost like 5 lakhs crore. So look at any numbers. Its investment portfolio is almost like 34 lakhs crore. It's one of the biggest investors in the top now for the government. So with the total asset of almost 30 lakhs crore, with so much revenue, the pillar of the economy, why you want to kill that? Because you need to mobilize 1.75 lakh crore, and this is the best news. So we know that it's not just the social. It's obviously LIC provides the social security to almost like 40 crores of policyholders, especially from the weaker section. That's its primary objective. But equally, it's a pillar because it invests so much on the critical part of building the nation, in the building projects, infrastructure projects, roads, irrigation, housing, railway, national highways, whatnot. It keeps investing in India. You can't simply imagine any infrastructure project without LIC participating. So it's almost invested 3.5 to 4.5 lakhs crore every year. And if you look at almost like 30 lakhs crore or so must have invested, and 24 lakhs crore or so in the state and center projects alone, infra projects alone. It's giving it certainly the income tax and the GST almost 10,000 crore a year or so. If you look at the dividend alone, now the 100 crore equity base, the government gets the dividend. How much? 2,700 crore in FY 1920. 2,700 crore. Does that number rings a bell? That 2,700 crore is what the government got by selling the whole of Air India. How much government got? Selling the whole Air India? 2,700 crore, that's it. The other 15,000 crore was, they said, okay, we will take care of your liability. That's what they say. And still the government is left with another 40,000 crore to pay back. But 2,700 crore effectively they made in that deal. And the LIC has paid a dividend in 1 year of 2,700. And you want to kill that. If you really look at till date, it's almost 28,000 crore in dividend alone. So once you sell that, that's gone. So it's the money-making company. It's investing in the nation's infrastructure. It's going to invest in the railways. The plan is it's 1.5 lakhs crores in the railway, 1.25 crores in the national highway building. Now, assume a private director board comes in. Can this continue? You have an independent director board. Now, once you have the private equities, the private companies don't work for the public. They work for their shareholders. And their motto is profit maximizing. You work for profit making, not for the public. So the moment like it become private, then whole of these social costs, nationalization, supporting the poor and all that gone. For whatever purpose the LIC was made, the whole agenda of nationalization is gone. Now it's for the shareholders to make money. You will wonder, the BPCL, it's a hot topic, right? They're raising the petrol price every second. BPCL is paying, you know how much dividend? 56 rupees a share. All this money is for shareholders. And how many shareholders? This 1%. So LIC will start paying dividends at 50 rupees or 100 rupees per share. Everybody will say, wow, what a performance. But who is getting this? This 1%. That's what is going to happen. So the social cost is gone. So it's LIC is the biggest institutional investor in the stock market. They keep many times the government use LIC to bail them out. In the economic crisis time, and in the US, actually the government was paying the insurance companies there, AIG and all that. LIC and the PSUs were like actually bailing out the government. They gave the stability to the Indian economy. And you want to kill those. So now LIC will have to concentrate on delivering the profit making, delivering to the shareholder. So who will suffer there? The poor and the marginalized and the sideline, those small policy holders. Suddenly your boss will start saying, hey, don't go to those rural areas. Come on, 100 policies, you hardly will get anything. Go to this man, he will give you a 10 lakhs check. One policy. Your priorities will change. So a lot of people there, I mean, already the penetration is really low. That we all know. Now, in the last couple of years, if you see, the insurance visibility and the reach is reducing in the rural areas after the private. So if there is this number here, like the private insurers, their rural office, they were 429 offices in March 2017, and it came down to 58 in March 2018. 429 to 58 in 1 year, from March 2017 to March 2018. In the meanwhile, LIC doubled its offices, number of offices in the semi-urban areas and tripled its offices in the rural areas. That's what the IRDA report says. Look at the priority. The private parties are not here, like, to serve the public. So they close the office in the rural area. Who is giving these? As such, we know, right? 70% of the household, 70% of the income of the household they put usually in the real estate, because they need at least house and like a small plot. The rest in gold. Only 5% of the saving is in the financial instruments like deposits or insurances, etc. So, and the insurance is the insurance industry, insurance sector is like supposed to grow in 14-15% year on year. And what they are doing, they are opening up and like letting these private and the foreign players to take all of these. Even the policy holders will be impacted. People say, hey, the policy holders, nothing to worry. Because LIC is currently giving what? Of the surplus value, 5% to the government and 95% to the policy holders is the bonus. Sharing. Private, they don't do that. And once you have the private independent directors in the board, this all can change. So that's where exactly, so since I'm given 30 minutes, I'm just overshooting, so I'm going to wind up. But as such, you know that this PSU sales spree is on. Very aggressively, very madly it's going on. They said like in the first quarter, 5 to 6 PSUs is going to be sold. And the names are like, BPCL, BEML, Shipping Corporation of India, Salem Steel Plant, Bhadravati Steel Plant. I mean, you will kind of amazed. What are they doing? We saw in the pandemic time, you sold the oxygen plants, you sold the vaccine making laboratories, and then you're choking. Nobody to make vaccine, nobody to make oxygen, nothing, and you're selling the same thing again. You haven't learned anything. It's on spree, as I said. So the Niti Aayog list is in 26 PSUs for 100% sold. You name it, you have it. All the names are there. All popular names are in there. Everything is going to be sold. So that's what we're currently on. So certainly we need to be out there in the field, friend of the struggle. Because the moment all of this go, so who is going to suffer when there are no PSU oxygen making plants and like vaccine making laboratories? Ultimately, the common people. No oxygen bed, no hospital bed, no vaccine. So we need to make sure that the national see the tenants will come and go. If not one term, if 2 terms, okay. But they are tenants. Don't sell our properties. That we need to go and tell loud and clear and strong. So this battle is not just for LIC employees. Certainly, it's for the people of the nation. It's for this country. Anybody who is interested in the well-being of this country, the financial stability of this country, need to make sure that our public assets are not sold. The public property where we got, like, see, you guys in the last 60 years went out there, mobilized the fund from the people, got policies, and the whole wealth of this 38 lakh crore, somebody is selling to 1% of the top elites, be Indian or foreign. No difference. We saw that, like, the government which refused to give the minimum support price to farmers, they have no qualm in writing up the loans of lakhs of crores to private corporate. That's the government. Those are the forces we are dealing with. So certainly, this is a struggle for the public, not just the LIC employees. So it has to be, like, the need to be the public mobilization as we are doing and continuing. Interestingly, we got very exciting template from the farmers' struggle. In front of the people's fury, people's will, no autocrat can stand for long. They have to kneel down. They have to apologize. So that is the template. So we have to continue this struggle. We have to mobilize public out there. We need to educate, because it's not a question of just LIC. It's a question of saving the public asset. All the PSU companies, the public assets that this nation has built in the last 7 decades or so. We shouldn't let that someone steal from us. This one person who holds 55 rupees, he's grabbing the rest of the asset as well. We shouldn't let that happen. And once again, commend to you all, salute to you all for leading this struggle and ensuring that the loot doesn't go without a question being asked. Thank you very much.